Steve, I think you broke it. Now we're looking a little better. All right. Let's do a little prayer. Um, Alderwoman Marks, you wanna help us with that?
All right, Elsa. And Heavenly Father, we're very grateful that we can come here today. We ask you for your guidance to help us all make good, right decisions for the people of Crowley and people who would like to be here in Crowley. All these things we ask you in gratitude. Amen.
Amen. Pledge of Allegiance. Alderman Reggie, please. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. All right, we'll start with Public Works. Alderman Jeff Doré, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Public Works will now open. We have a quorum present. First thing on our list is Public Works Director Albert John, and I think the mayor will give us an update. Albert's sick.
Yeah, Albert, hopefully by next month. He's walking around now, and he's getting around a little better. He is back at work, but he's still struggling a little bit with his back. So we still have the boom mower that is in the shop. That is what we cut some of the large ditches with. That's why you see Oddfellows, West 15th Street, different areas of that sort that normally get cut with the boom mower. The grass is really tall. That mower has been in the shop for a couple of weeks. The boom was bent. It broke a hydraulic line and fell while the tractor was traveling, and it bent the boom. The boom had to be ordered from the manufacturer, and as of yesterday, they said it should ship out by midweek next week. It actually had to be made. They had to make another boom for it. Most of this equipment that we talk about is not aging, but has aged, and so finding parts for some of this stuff is tough. The street sweeper, our new mechanic started yesterday, and getting him in the groove of things, and because we were backed up on mechanic work, we also have Chris Impastato, who is our outgoing mechanic, who worked together, both of them yesterday and today, and we're able to get some police cars fixed, and they will, Dalton will end up changing the radiator on the street sweeper and get that back on the road. But other than that, I think everything else is going as it should. Mosquito spraying has slowed down a little. We were doing it twice a week throughout the city. We're down to once a week throughout the city now. I am not the one spraying anymore. We do have an employee that does that. I think that's it. Everything else, I think, is moving right along. Wesley may have some more stuff to, oh, the interstate tractor. The tractor that cuts the grass on the interstate, is broken also. That tractor is aged. Greg Jones, purchased that tractor, 15 years. Our wastewater superintendent was the original driver of that tractor. Uh, he would cut the grass on the interstate with that tractor. But no, that was Tim.
That was Tim.
Our current wastewater superintendent used to cut the grass on the interstate. So that tractor is about 15 years old. But, I mean, it still works. It is undersized. It should be a larger tractor, more horsepower. But the PTO shaft broke again on the tractor itself. This happened a couple of months back, but we had it fixed, and then it happened again. I think probably because the grass is too tall. So once they had to order the parts from John Deere. Once they get it fixed, it's been out for a week and a half now. What I'm gonna make sure that they do is they cut the grass with the bush hog up, and then come back a second time and cut it at a second level, so that it doesn't strain it so much. But we are working on that. Cutting the grass on the interstate takes extra equipment now that those cables are there. The big bush hog does not fit between the cable and the interstate, where some parts of the city, the cable is closer to the westbound lane. Some parts are closer to the eastbound lane. It's not in the middle of the median. And I asked DOTD, I said, who the hell made that decision? Because it is causing a headache with cutting the grass. We can't cut it with the same bush hog, because that bush hog is too wide and it ends up in the lane of travel on the interstate, and we definitely can't have that. And it all has to do with the slope and the width of the median, and traffic studies and historical data from crashes and things of that sort as to how far away. Because in rain, I told them, I said, why did y'all put two of them in rain, one on each side, and left the grassy area in the middle, and there's nothing to cut between the cable and the interstate? And then you messed us up over here and put a cable close, and we got to get another machinery to do it. So it takes a little extra to cut the grass on the interstate now, but we're getting there. Grass is certainly a problem, and Wesley will attest to that in his report. It is just, obviously, it's growing extremely quickly, and with the rain showers, there's only so much grass you can cut at one time. But I think everything else is pretty much good to go. If something else, Wesley keeps up with a lot of Albert stuff too. So that should do it for Public Works.
Thank you, Mayor. It's a very good report. The next item would be our city engineer, Mr. Tim Mater.
Thanks, Jeff. I have no action items for council to consider at this time. I've presented in writing the updates on other items in my engineer's report, so that is my report.
Well, that was a short one. Thank you very much, though.
Thank you.
And the next item is you, Wesley.
Hello, how y'all doing today?
Doing fine.
All right, as usual, we had 77 work orders that we got. Grass full effect. Trees this month, 100 plus trees cut down. 22 trimmed. Culverts cleaned, approximately 500 foot. Y'all notice that number has come down. It's been raining so much, and grass is coming up so fast, so we had to slow down on pulling the culverts in order to keep up with the grass, because we don't have enough people to do so. Ditches dug, we actually a little bit over. We went about 3,000 feet. Most of that has to do with we've been installing culverts in customers' yards, so we've been doing more catch basins, more culverts, cleaning out more ditches. And I'm still going with the same rotation. I don't stay on one side of the city at one time, so I usually go west, south, east, north, and keep rotating around different neighborhoods, just kind of spread it out. Catch basins, we had 3 built and poured, and right now we have 5 that's built, ready to pour, but it's so wet we can't get in there, and then we have another 10 on standby right when we finish. So we're doing a section on Cherokee, which is a long run, and then we have another section on Broad Acres that we got another 300 feet, another 5 catch basins to do on that side. So in Albert's report, he would have said we had to order another 20 framing grates because we run out. So since I've been there, we've been rolling with them. I don't know the actual number. I think it was 15 since January up until the date that we had sold, and so we had to order another 20. No accidents this past month, so everything has been pretty safe. And I made a little note here. Months ago, we had talked about I wanted my guys to have safety shoes, and we couldn't figure out how to get it with the payroll deduction. So I figured out another way to do it. So as of right now, all of my guys have safety shoes. A little side program we have, and so we're cleaning up the city, and any scrap iron we find, we put it in the pile, and I've been scrapping it. That's what we paid for it with. So we got to do what we got to do. But now we don't have guys cutting grass and weed eating with tennis shoes on, dropping stuff on their feet. So just wanted to put a note with that. It just happened this month, so I'm gonna just go ahead and tell you about it. We had one complaint filed by a citizen in Crowley. I'm not gonna name names, but I will say it's a customer had a complaint about one of our drivers driving a little fast, and her dog was in the yard. And then, so I did an investigation. Her story, his story, and a witness story. And of course, they was all different. But at the end of the day, I told them how we treat the citizens is a reflection on all of us. So the penalty for it, and I met with the mayor about it. I didn't think it was warrant to fire, but I sent him home one day with no pay. Hopefully he gets it. I met with the citizen. I went and talked to her. I got a statement from her. Talked about it. She was okay. I'm going to go back tomorrow and visit with her and tell her what I did. But like the mayor, we all want to keep it open. This is what's going on. If we have an incident, we're going to deal with it, and we're going to deal with it the best we can. Upcoming events, we're focusing right now on cutting a lot of trees because we're on hurricane season. So we're trying to get as many trees that's leaning, that look sick, that can possibly fall on somebody's house. So we're doing a lot of tree cutting right now. So hopefully we get a little better weather, and tomorrow we're going to get back on some more. So we're going to be cutting a lot of trees throughout the city. We get a lot of calls, and like I tell everybody, I got about 40 or 50 work orders just in the pouch, and we probably got another 40, 50, 60 that people call in about. So we're just getting to them as fast as we can. I just got this also today. I was in City Hall reading a brochure, and come to find out Tangipahoa Parish instituted a drainage system, mapping it. Like Tim and I bought that GPS stick to go around and route the actual drainage of the city of Crowley. So I thought it was interesting. So I wrote a note to ask you for permission to go visit with Tangipahoa Parish to find out some information on how they did it, how much it cost them to do it, any tips, advice, how the system works. You know, I don't know. I know in my line items there's schooling and seminars you can go to, but I don't think this falls into it. But all right. Other than that, I don't have anything else.
Thank you very much, Wesley.
Yeah, I have a question.
Oh, Sandy?
Thank you so very much for all that y'all are doing. I know it's keeping up with the weather and cutting the trees, and I noticed y'all are doing a great job. In the cycle, when do you expect to go back and pick up the debris that's been, y'all have cut and you put it by the side of the road, will you be cycling to go pick all that up?
Yes, we're actually working in conjunction with the parish. Big loads, we mark and they'll come pick up for us. Smaller loads, we try to send our truck, go and pick them up and bring them to the yard. But yes, right now, if it's a down tree that falls, we'll cut it up and leave it on the side of the road, and then we'll cycle back and get it.
Okay.
The ones that we actually go and cut, we haul off right then and there.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Wesley. Any more questions? Step.
All right, Wes, on that question that you just had about schooling or whatever, anytime you can go to seminars or workshops and it's advantageous to the city as a whole, it's allowed. Now, I don't know how the mayor would work it out with it, but it's allowed because you're not going on vacation. You're going, as my dad used to say, you're going to get something to bring some. So with that being said, you want to know how it works, the only way you can do is be there. Good luck with that.
Yeah, Mr. Martin, I didn't get a chance to speak with Wesley today on his report before this meeting, but obviously I would have told him the same thing. Training is important. If we don't know how to do things, then we can't do it right. But also networking. You know, one of the big things we get as council and mayor by going to LMA events is networking and learning from other cities and what they do and what's worked for them and what didn't work for them. We want to know that too. And so it's important that especially our department heads are allowed the same opportunity because networking is a big deal. As a matter of fact, our wastewater superintendent asked if he could attend LMA in Shreveport this year because he has gone to some before and he was able to make some good contacts. And so guess what? He signed up and he's registered and he's going to be there. So I think it's important that we have those opportunities for our department heads.
Do we need any action to create a budget or expense for Mr. Jacob and his team to go to Tangipahoa for that?
No, I don't think so. I think we
We're just,
can deal with that.
we don't have to,
Right.
okay, it's good to go.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, any other questions? Thank you very much, Wesley. And with that, I will close Public Works.
Oh, that's me. I'm sorry. I was reading, going ahead, and wasn't saying anything. Utility, Alderman Martin, please, sir.
Thank you, sir. Utility Committee is here today. So we do have a quorum. And first up, Tim Crater, wastewater superintendent.
Good afternoon. A couple of things. Mayor mentioned that I was going to LMA conference. I found out today our UV system is, our plant right now is shut down. We're still taking water from the city for treatment, but it's we're not discharging to a public body of water while the UV system is being installed. They started installing the lamps and the modules today. We should be back online tomorrow. But talking with a guy that I've known when I first got there that did the UV system, the same system we have, they have in Bossier City. They also have a mechanical lift that lifts the UV there in Bossier City, so I might detour to look at that, and I think it will benefit us here in the long run to install at the over the UV system. With that, we've had 13 work orders filed during the month of June. Louisiana locate requests were a little off from what my number was. I'm still trying to verify that, but they're in the neighborhood of average of 200 a month. We did speak with USIC on occasion. I will be forwarding the more information. USIC is a outside locating company that has information for our wire records to go in and locate the line. It frees up 2 people. You get sometime 15, 20 a day. Wesley talked about going to Tangipahoa Parish to look at their system. The sewer portion is in GIS. We do have a program for that currently, thanks to past contractors that come in and did some work. We were able to obtain that information and put it in a program. With that, it's beneficial to us because we can exactly pinpoint manholes that have been covered, run over, covered with asphalt. We know it's there. Let's go ahead and cover it. So enough of that. We pulled a pump at Oddfellows Pump Station that had clothing, let me say it like that, because wrapped in the pump. It'll shut the pump down. So if it's not made to go down a drain in your home, please do not put it there. We've got one of the 2 aerators back online at the plant. We're still waiting on a shaft on the other one to get it up in operation. I'll be sending out price quotes. I sent a couple out this afternoon for a 5-horse pump, 15 horse, and a 20 horse. Those pumps will be a replacement in our facility for when we have one of them go down. Most of the pumps are interchangeable within a station. You know, a 5-horse pump can be used at Capitol lift station, Industrial lift station, Gray Lawn, any one of those, as long as the RPMs are correct and the impeller size and all the volume. We can interchange those, and the same with the 15 and the same with the 20. In 2022, give you a little idea, 2022, the 20 horsepower pump was about 12 to 15,000. I don't see a big increase there. That's about what they are. The 15 and the 5 would be less than that, but I'm waiting on those quotes to come back. We're down 2 employees. I interviewed a person today, has 10 years of experience with Jennings. I'll follow up with their operator tomorrow and see if he's a good fit for us. 10 years of experience, kind of hard, and want to figure out why he left. That was our biggest thing, but looks like we might have a candidate to fill one of those positions. Other than that, I want to thank my guys doing what they do. I'm sure Wesley feels the same way. That heat ain't playing. You know, give them props for everything they do. Other than that, that's all I have. Any questions?
Yeah, before we do, look, while you in Shreveport, one of the things that I pride myself in doing is called the begging of the vendors. So while you're talking about pumps and everything, it's not a bad deal to ask whatever vendor up there, ask them to come to Crowley. Ask them, would they sponsor a workshop here in Crowley? You know, in my tenure as council, I brought a few of them down here. And believe you me, most of the time they're coming out of New York or somewhere. They don't know anything about Louisiana.
Right.
But if you can get them to sponsor, and I mean, they take care of everything, room and board or whatever, they do it all. Just like y'all going to Tangipahoa. What city in Tangipahoa, Wes? Is it Kentwood? Okay, if it's Kentwood, Tara Irma, you're from Crowley, she'll take care of y'all. She's the mayor over there. But that's a good thing to do, Tim. Networking, like the mayor said, when you're networking, I mean, they're there in Shreveport, they don't know anybody in the state, but we basically in the middle of the state when you think about it, even though we're on the south side. But talk to them and see, hell, we'll be up there, we'll sit down with them and
The first few years that I did attend, 1 year was in LMA, and I believe you were president then.
You're right.
So I did gain a lot of contacts. There is a lot of information out there. You just have to go get it.
That's it.
It's there for you. So
And the food was good too, huh?
appreciate you.
Leave it, I'm not gonna answer that question. All right, thank you, man. Anybody else got any questions for him? All right, Tim, thank you, buddy. All right, let's see. Tim, number 2, city engineer, you up, buddy.
I've been called worse.
Well, you be all right.
Thank you, Mr. Reporter. I have 2 action items in my report. The first one begins on page 12 in my report. This is the UV system that Tim gave you a good report on just now. Tim, number 1. If you'll turn to page 13 at the top, it's going to be action on partial payment estimate number 4. As of June 30th, the Volute contract was 84% complete by time, 94% complete by cost, which means they're ahead, which is a good thing. Partial payment estimate number 4 has the total value at $1,310,041. That's the total value of completed work. We're going to withhold $65,502.05 for labor and material liens. And the total amount due for this estimate will be $94,283.85. And I would ask you to consider approving partial payment number 4 to Volute for the new ultraviolet disinfection system in the amount of $94,283.85.
So moved.
Microphone, please.
Okay, thank you. Offered by myself and second by Alderman Dorey to approve partial payment estimate number 4 to Volute Incorporated for the new ultraviolet disinfectant system at the wastewater treatment facility project in the amount of $94,283.85. That's correct? $94,000, I'm sorry, $94,283.85. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
The next action item is on page 14. This is the LCDBG fiscal year 2020-2021 rehabilitation of the sewage collection system project. The description of the project is on page 15 at the top, and I'd like you to consider action on partial payment estimate number 17. As of June 30th, the contract is overtime and 82% complete by cost. Partial payment estimate number 17 estimates that the total value of work done through June 30th is $1,512,692.94. The amount of $73,586.41 being withheld for labor and material lien retainage. The total amount due this estimate therefore is $38,916.58. And I'm asking council to consider approving partial payment estimate number 17 to NCMC LLC for the rehabilitation of the sewage collection system project in the amount of $38,916.58.
I was offered by Ms. Marks. Choose. Second by Jeff, to approve a partial payment number 17.
Yes, sir.
Partial payment number 17, estimate to NCMC LLC for the LCDBG fiscal year 2020-2021 rehabilitation of the sewage collection system in the amount of $38,916.58. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
That concludes action items. I have updates of other key projects that I can answer questions about now or between now and next Tuesday or next Tuesday.
Okay. Anything else to come before Utility Committee? Well, we recess.
Thank you, sir. Recreation Committee, let's see, Alderman Lachele.
Thank you, Mayor. The Recreation Committee convenes. We have a quorum present. First on the agenda is reports, and we'll have Recreation Director Zach Duyon.
Good evening. Happy to report that our Pinto All-Stars remain undefeated after the last weekend in Youngsville, and they will be competing for the World Series, which starts in Youngsville on Wednesday, July 17th. They'll have the pool play on the Wednesday, and then the brackets will come out on the Friday. Very exciting, not only the fact that they're undefeated, but that they get to compete for a World Series title for the city of Crowley. This is the fourth weekend that we will be hosting 2D at the Tony Robichaux Sports Complex. They have their showcase series, and this will be the final weekend. July 27th is our final weekend that we have any kind of baseball or softball tournaments going on at the complex. And with that, American Legion wrapped up their regular season this week as well. They finished 17-5, and their playoffs begin this weekend at T-Moore Field on UL's campus. So be sure to go check them out if y'all can as well. Registration is open for our soccer and flag football. We have 54 athletes currently registered for soccer and 24 currently registered for flag football. That will be through August 9th. So still a whole month for young athletes to go register. And like I mentioned last month, this is something that we're hoping to double our registration from last year. And we're well on the way with football. And again, that registration ends on August 9th. And then something that we're going to try to do this year is an opening day of sorts. It'll be on Saturday, September 14th, and it'll kind of be like a round robin. Our flag football teams and our soccer teams, everybody gets to play a game or two, and kind of just a way to open things up for the fall and our fall recreation sports, have an opening day, and just celebrate that day. And that's all I have.
And I have included the, in your emails, I sent you all the bracket and information for the tournament that's going to be in Youngsville that he was speaking about.
All right, any other questions?
Yeah,
Keep track.
Zachary, some of the playgrounds in the park equipment,
Yes, sir.
swings and so forth, needed some attention. Saw some posts on Facebook from individuals, you may have seen it too.
Yes, sir.
But if we could look into that, I'd appreciate it.
Yes, sir, and that's something that we started attending to today, going to each one of the parks, starting action item lists of things that need to be taken care of, that we'll begin moving forward with that and tending to those. Yes, sir, thank you.
Yeah, man, I had gotten a call from a little guy, he was coaching. You gotta excuse me,
Yeah, sure.
there's a temporary tooth in my mouth, and I don't know what's going on with this thing, man. But anyway, if I sound like I'm wheezing, believe you me, it's not on purpose. I guess everybody heard what happened in Rain with their park, their basketball court. All right, okay. Well, believe it or not, since it happened, I don't know, Byron, if you've been getting phone anybody here, any one of my colleagues, Mayor, I don't know if they calling you, but they want one at St. Teresa, at St. Teresa Park. Okay, which is, I told them, I mean, it's a good idea. The fact of the matter is, can it be done? So I would like to put that on the wish list.
Except we're not familiar with what they want.
So you're speaking
Well,
about the basketball
The
court itself?
basketball, yeah, I'm getting to that. Right, I'm getting to that. Okay, just bear a minute. What they did, they put it's like a mat type covering, I guess it's over,
Yes, sir, it's like
pavement or whatever.
a grid of sorts
Right.
that goes above the concrete.
Yeah, so I just drove by it and I mean, the park's closed right now, but, I went to take a look at it. And I think it's something that would enhance, the park. I think St. Teresa is one of the only parks that has the full full courts. So if you don't mind, I would like to see something looked into that.
Yes, sir, that's something that I can discuss, and like you said, see what's possible
Right,
and what we can do moving forward.
all right, I appreciate
Absolutely.
that. Thank you, man.
Okay, any other questions or comments for Zach? None? Okay, thank you,
All right,
Zach.
thank y'all.
Okay. Next on the agenda is the city engineer, Tim Mader, if you have anything. Okay, thank you, Tim. Okay. Anything else to come before the Recreation Committee? If none, we'll recess.
Thank you, sir. Zoning annexation, Alderman Reggie, please.
Thank you. I do have a quorum, and I'll start off with Mr. Tim Mater again.
Yes, I'm back. Yeah, the items I have in my report are actually going to be covered as direct items on your zoning and annexation committee agenda, so I have nothing further than that to report.
All righty, thank you.
But I appreciate you fixing my microphone anyway.
Okay, well, we'll go ahead and get into them then. So my first action item is to consider the Crowley Planning Commission favorable recommendation on a proposed VFW Drive Carmichael property annexation, and I so move. And second by Ms. Sandy. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Number 2, consider the Crowley Planning Commission favorable recommendation for property as shown on preliminary and final plat showing 16.393 acres located in section 29T9S R1E and making it a C3 shown and situated on plat City of Crowley, Acadia Parish, and I so move. And seconded by Mr. Martin. Mr. Mater.
Yes, I'd like to insert the word subdivision of property on the first line of this item. Favorable recommendation for the subdivision of property as shown, etc.
Okay. I'll change my to reflect that. And Mr. Martin, you still a second? All righty. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Number 3, the Crowley, I guess it'd be considered the Crowley Planning Commission makes a favorable recommendation for conditional use to allow a veterinary clinic / hospital, Rice City Animal Hospital located at 625 8th Street East, Lot 14, 15, 16, Block 128, Flood Zone AE, City of Crowley, Acadia Parish, and I so move. And seconded, Ms. Marks. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? And before I get to number 4, I think I need to get with Mr. Tony real quick. If you could come, Mr. Tony. Because I had a couple questions. Well, I had a phone call about number 4. So I guess would be the process.
Sir?
I think they were asking about the process.
Yeah, we had some concerns about the process of moving the variance process forward without signatures. I was awaiting for legal opinion on that, and during that time, the concern was that abutting property owners, 50% of abutting property owners would have to sign approval to allow this to occur. So during that time, I went ahead and we got the abutting property owners to sign no opposition to allow this to be implemented.
Okay.
And then I think we're gonna find out other information later on through the meeting.
Okay. Well, then let me go ahead and start with number 4 then. To approve the Crowley Planning Commission also makes a favorable recommendation for application for zoning to allow a 1,200 square foot metal shop at 19 Judge Cannon Drive, Lot 80, City of Crowley, Acadia Parish, and I so move. Okay, and then we'll go into discussion.
Microphone, please.
What's the physical address of this?
19 Judge Cannon Drive,
So, okay, Judge Cannon Drive, where's that located?
Beauvoir subdivision.
Oh, okay.
And I think Mr. Tony did say that everybody agreed to it. The budding property
Yes,
owners?
we got 50% of the signatures. I gave copy, one
Okay.
to Brad and one to you.
Okay.
So you have all the legal, you got all the legal, qualifications then?
We got the budding property owner signature, 50%. Actually, it's one more than 50%.
Okay, it's 50 plus, okay.
Yes, sir.
And
All right, thank you, man.
Mr. Dickey?
Tony, you know, whenever Beauvoir was first subdivided, they had stringent restrictions of that subdivision. I mean, are you going by the restrictions of the subdivision or by city code?
So when it comes to subdivision restrictions, that's not implemented by the city. That is from the property owners that are within that subdivision. So as of now, there's no, whatever you may call it. No, yeah, the covenant of the subdivision, there's no proof of meetings. So that's not going to be able to be implemented.
Okay. Any?
That's good, thank you.
No. No,
No.
they do not.
Correct. It doesn't seem like the HOA exists anymore for Beauvoir.
Right.
Yeah. Any other questions for Mr. Tony? Yes, ma'am.
Subdivision rules. Whenever there's a subdivision that has tenants as its rules, that goes into forever. It does, HOAs came much later than that subdivision. Because I know we have subdivisions in the parish, those rules for the subdivisions don't change.
Depends on whoever,
The developer.
yeah, that's what I'm saying, if someone move out, the original owners move out. I mean, you got to start somewhere.
What is this Meldo building gonna be used for? Is it just a personal shop?
Well, I mean, that's why I asked, I mean, I wasn't sure, like, if
Yeah.
they had any.
I haven't heard.
So we don't know what the use is for it. But again, if there is, when a developer develops a subdivision, there's rules of do's and don'ts. And that should be registered.
But the city does not regulate those rules.
That's right.
Just to clarify, private subdivision restrictions aren't the province of the city. Those are enforced by an HOA or whatever body is set up by those private regulations. So those aren't ordinances of the city that can be enforced by the city. That's up to the residents of the subdivision to police and enforce themselves. With regards to the variance procedure, I know there were some questions about that, and Tony got signatures, but I've reviewed the ordinances, and there's no requirement for signatures. No. And listen, I've personally obtained a variance for myself years ago, and I got signature. I had to get signatures. I was told I had to get signatures. But the only thing that requires signatures is an additional home occupation, which requires all abutting landowners, everyone across the street from an abutting street to the subject property, and 75% of everybody within a 300-foot radius. But that applies just to additional home occupation. So if you were trying to put a business in your home or a beauty shop or things of that nature. The only other requirement there is with regards to notice on variances is what the city ordinance actually says. What the city ordinance actually says with regards to variances, there is a provision that provides for notice, but all it says with regards to notice is that the applicant is to supply the city with typed addressed labels, and I think the word they use is gum-backed labels. That's what it says. So gum-backed labels, presumably for the purpose of the city notifying everyone within a 200-foot radius of the perimeter of the property. And I believe, in speaking with Tony, Tony does that already on his own, regardless of whether he has the gun-back labels or not. So I think Tony's complied with the ordinance, and I think that's his, normal operating procedure. But I was actually surprised to find out there wasn't a requirement for signatures.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Okay, I want to be careful and get this straight. What you just said, and I'm gonna use another type situation here. Let's say somebody have a lot, and they wants to put, adjudicated trailer, whatever it may be.
Trailer's different. Trailer requires signatures as well. I'm sorry. Right. Yeah.
I don't know, that's confusing, because you're saying that you don't need a petition in certain areas of the city? Is that what you're
No,
saying?
it applies uniformly throughout the city.
Right.
But the only thing that requires signatures is a petition to place a trailer and an additional.
Well, I just use that as an example, but,
But for example, if you want to build a 8-foot fence, okay? Or if you want to build closer to your property line than the
3
city
feet.
setback
Okay,
allows.
the setback, 3 feet,
Okay?
okay.
You would have to request a variance for that. And to request that variance, you'd make an application to the city upon the city's form that they use. You're supposed to give the city gum-backed, typed address labels for every property owner within a 200-foot radius of the perimeter of the property. And the city sends out a notice to those individuals of the public hearing. And that's all that's required, no signatures.
So in this situation right here, whoever this person is with this metal building, you saying that he didn't have to get signatures?
Correct.
But he got them anyway.
So went above and beyond.
Well, I remember years ago, we had a situation, I don't want to rehash old times, but someone built a building in someone's backyard. Jeff, you know what I'm talking about? Yeah, okay, but I'm just saying, we need to get that straight, because if I'm just someone listening, it
Ms. Katie, you
sounds to
still
me
had
like
something?
y'all holding me back when I shouldn't have to be held back.
Yeah.
All right.
Ms.
just
Katie,
want-
you had something?
Yeah.
Please?
Just to clarify, we were the 5th house in that neighborhood in 1976, and there was an HOA, and there was a huge binder with restrictions. Through the years, those people passed away, they moved, all of that. When I sold my home in 2009, I actually provided the new owner with the notebook with all of the restrictions, which meant absolutely nothing to them, because all of that has changed, and there is no one there that oversees any of that anymore, just saying.
Mr. Brad, you had something?
Yes, Michael, so with the variance, are you saying that we still have to notify neighboring properties
I think you should
as
send out
part of the variance?
a notice, not a signature, but a notice should be sent to everyone within a 200-foot radius of the perimeter of the property that's applying for the variance.
Good, okay, so that will apply to this instance.
And I believe Tony does that as a matter of
Right.
course.
So then when this matter is brought up again, the public can attend, those people within that.
That's the purpose of the notice. In other words, they have an opportunity to come here and attend the public hearing and voice their displeasure with what
Yeah, or
these people are
favorable,
trying to do, or
sure.
favorable opinion.
That's great. Thank you
Okay.
so much. That clarifies my committee question.
Anybody else? Okay.
The only clarification that I'm asking is this just a personal, private owner's workshop, 1,200 square feet? And that, there's no...
I haven't heard.
They haven't asked for any conditional use for business or anything like that. This is presumed to be a workshop, a shop, a storage building for the owners, yes. Yes, personal use,
Personal
yes.
use. Okay. All right, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. I do not have any discussion items, so I will recess. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. If y'all don't mind, Mr. Mater just stood up on the table over there and was waving at me. It's a little inside joke. I told him to get my attention if I forget. Mr. Mater has another engagement this evening at 7 in Lafayette, so he asked if we would take up revenue and finance now so that he can get on the road and not worry about any police officers on the way there stopping him for speeding. So if you don't mind, revenue and finance, Alderman Lachele, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Revenue Finance Committee convenes. We have a quorum present. We have no reports to be presented to the committee. On the action items, we have one, a resolution committing local funds for the construction costs which exceed the allocated state funding for the Urban Park and Pavilion project, which consists of the facility planning and control project and the number presented. So you have anything to go over, Tim?
Yes, the council, of course, approved everything that needed to be approved for this project a year ago, maybe more. But facility planning and control gets a little goosey about the time that they're reviewing plans and about to authorize a city to advertise for bids and receive bids. And they just require one last statement from the mayor and the council that if bids come in over the amount of funding that they are providing, that the city is committing to paying anything above and beyond that. You've already done that, but they want it again right before they authorize the bids. So that's what this resolution is all about. I'm assuming you have a copy of it in front of you.
Yes, it is in the back of your packet.
Any questions about that?
Okay, with this right here, this is not the final draft, will it? In other words, we had a discussion about where the splash pad would be and all this other stuff. So by committing this right here, what exactly are we paying for, or just giving advance permission? What is it exactly?
Yeah, Step, you're not approving plans and specs at this
Okay.
point. You're just taking care of some red tape that facility planning and control requires before they will allow you to go to bids. But we're not asking you to go to bids tonight. That will come
Oh,
next
okay.
month.
Okay, well, I'll go ahead and offer that.
Okay. All right, a second. Any discussion? We have a motion by Mr. Martin, we got a second by Ms. Chasson.
Bless
Any
you.
discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay. We have any other comments or discussion to come before the Revenue Finance? If not, the Revenue Finance Committee convenes.
Thank you,
Mayor-
sir.
Mayor, thank you for that.
Mr. Mayor.
If it had gone late, I would have had to get Step to drive me to Lafayette.
Thank you, sir. Turn your mic off, please. All right, public safety. Alderman Core, please.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to open the Public Safety Committee meeting. All members are present except Mr. Chuck Ashby. We'll begin with reports, first by Chief of Police Troy Hebert.
The month of June, the officers answered 752 calls. The traffic enforcement detail, they issued 653 citations. Other traffic was 49. Total criminal arrests was 33, bringing the total to 735 total violations. That concludes my report, unless y'all have any questions.
Thank you, Chief. Anyone have any questions?
I'd like to just ask one thing. Have they been patrolling in the areas that I discussed with you about golf cart usage? Because as of yesterday, I got a call, and they said a golf cart is pulling someone on a skateboard, and they're moving pretty fast, you know? And I'm thinking, well, you can't go out there and catch them right now, I'm sure, but have they been trying to enforce?
Yes, I've even sent them out there several times myself, around the Beauvoir area behind Sonic back there on Broad Acres. I got a couple complaints in that area also. We definitely out looking for them, you know, we're no longer looking the other way. If we see something, we try to respond to it.
Well, some of them, and I'm not naming names like Step would say, I'm not gonna name any names, but some of them were on vacation and they're back. So, have a good day.
I'll definitely pass it on to where we make some more frequent patrols in that area. We did have a hard time locating them. Some of the neighbors did say that they had seen it, but they wasn't sure where they were from. I don't think they were from Broad Acres itself. They might have come from a different area, but they didn't recognize the golf cart or the kids on it.
And one thing I'd like to recommend is that when any council member or citizen see those individuals on the golf course, call the police department. Don't just, wait for them because, when they are working the grid, it may take an hour before they get back to where they started. And then, people around the golf court may be gone.
Yeah, in this particular case, it was a very young child on the golf court. So we were concerned that he'd fall off or something. So we were really trying to locate him. We're just unsuccessful.
And I think it's important to remind our citizens that a legalized golf cart on the street, city streets, and not allowed to travel down state highways, Parkerson, Second Street, Oddfellows, Eastern between Hutchinson and the city limit line, but they are required to have blinkers, brake lights, headlights, a horn, seat belts, mirrors, windshield, and liability insurance.
Yes.
And you are required to have a driver's license to operate the golf cart. So it's important that our citizens realize that just because it's legalized to be on the road, if you have all of those things, and you have to get it inspected and registered with the police department. But you must have a driver's license. You must be legal to drive a vehicle to legally drive a golf cart on the city streets.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay, we'll move to Fire Chief Luis Romero, but I don't think he's here.
He's not.
And we'll move on to City Inspector Tony Duhon.
So for the monthly report of June, animal control, sorry, I do not have a report for that. Cody is on vacation. But under code enforcement, for the month of June, we sent out 49 tall grass violations. 18 of those have been cut, with 33 scheduled to be cut. I'm sorry, 23. I should put my glasses on, but anyway. We also sent out 2 junk car violations, 2 trash and rubbish, 1 unpermitted use of property. And then in flood management, we reviewed 2 permits of construction being done in flood zone. Those are residential properties. Planning and zoning, reviewing of annexation and subdivision of properties, which were discussed this evening. In the permitting department, we had 16 electrical permits, 10 plumbing, 1 mechanical, and 1 demo permit for Alicia Brown at 429 Northwestern Avenue. That's a mobile home that she owned at that location, and she will be moving a mobile home in that location in the future. She's replacing 1 older mobile home with a newer mobile home. Stormwater management, our monthly inspections of the outlets in the city of Crowley. And that's it that I have for the month of June.
And Tony, real quick, on the stormwater management, I'm sorry, the flood management, the letter you gave me, I emailed to the council this evening. You should have it in your emails, just from the state, giving us kudos for doing a job well done and continuing the ability for our citizens to purchase flood insurance in our city.
Yes. Tony, I've got a question. On the code enforcement list, of those complaints, were those ones that individuals called in with complaints?
Yeah, Tamika actually is the one that does that and goes out and takes pictures and creates those violations.
But those are responding to complaints that are called in?
No, she does. I know we're going to speak about being
Yes.
proactive. No, she's pretty thorough.
Well, that's what it
When-
seems like, because I've seen
Yeah,
the number has increased, and,
Right. No, those numbers include her while she's on that block, maybe.
yes.
She'll do the one across the street. She
Right, so
does-
if there's a complaint at one location, you see something
Oh,
across
no,
the street?
no, she's very thorough on that.
Very good.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions for Tony? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move to action items. We have one, to consider the following application for a 2024 liquor license, ShopRite Number One, located at 525 South Parkinson, for a 2024 Class B packaged liquor permit, and I so move. Seconded by, who seconded? Byron Wildridge. Any discussion?
Recuse myself.
And Mr. Sammy Reggie recuses himself. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Under discussion items, requesting an update from the mayor regarding blighted properties, condemnations, and number of responses received from property owners seeking financial assistance to cover cost of demolition relating to the city's grant application. Mayor, if you can
Yes, sir.
enlighten us on, give us an update.
Yes, sir. I asked Mr. Mader to hang back for a few more minutes to help with the understanding of this. So this grant that is an LCDBG grant that we were going to apply for, and unfortunately, we are not going to be able to get that grant. Mr. Mader, if you want to explain a little more in detail for that.
Yes, we won't be able to get it in the time frame that we had hoped. It's hopefully LCDBG is going to continue with this program in the same cycles that they progress with the public facilities program. The problem is that you already have a public facilities grant, and their regulations don't allow you to have two grants going on at the same time. We were hopeful that we would close out the current LCDBG project, which is the rehabilitation of the sewer system, in time. The deadline for submitting an application was by the end of June, and we were not complete with that contract. In fact, we actually were able to use that money to do about $150,000 worth of replacing a main gravity sewer line on Hutchinson, and that made us have to miss the deadline for sure. We're never going to make it anyway, but that solidified us not meeting that deadline. So we weren't able to apply, and so we missed this cycle. But fear not, because all the legwork that's being done will be very useful in a year, approximately a year, when we will have no LCDBG project and we'll be able to apply in the next cycle. Meantime, we were hoping not to have to deal with the blighted properties the normal way. We had shut that down thinking that this funding would help out with that process. So I think the idea here is we need to resume looking at the more severely blighted property and dealing with it without this grant assistance.
Yeah. And so this funding from LCDBG specifically for blighted properties, is that something that you suspect would be like guaranteed that they're going to do again next year, or we don't know for sure, right?
We don't know for sure, but I believe it probably runs the same limited risk that the public facilities program would not be available
Sure.
either. That's federal funding. The federal funding never stops.
Yeah.
So I think it's a pretty good bet. This is an area that the state has looked at as a better use of that funding maybe than some things that have been offered up in the past.
Sure. Okay.
Mayor, how many applicants came forth to apply? Because I know we have, well, probably well over 100 severely,
Oh, yeah, yeah. We
Blighted
only,
properties.
we only had about 25, the last time I checked. I can check again before next week to
So
find
what-
out, but it was about 25 the last time I checked. I'm suspecting, and I'll try and get that list and get it out to you all. But I'm suspecting that that's not gonna be some of the more severe. That's gonna be, family members that, want to clean up the properties and, the easier contacted families. A lot of these severely blighted properties, remember, are multiple property owners, heirs, decades of heirs throughout the years, and many of them don't live in the city. Some of them, I would suspect, don't even know where the home is. They've never been to the city. But I've instructed Tony to move forward with requiring the demolition of those that have already been brought through council this year and last year, since 23. Move forward with the demolition of those. And I've also been working with Mike, and we are going to name a blight hearing judge, or whatever the official name is. Administrative hearing judge. We're gonna name that person soon and get that process started, and we will begin the blighted property efforts to eradicate our blighted property once again. Unfortunately, we'll have to go back to the other way that we had to do it before. And then, maybe we can, next year, hopefully we'll be able to apply for this funding again and help out some of these property owners.
Mayor, I have a question.
Answered all my questions.
You did? You good?
Yes,
You good? On the last cycle of blighted property, there were several individuals that we made concessions to if they went and made, they were condemned.
Repairs.
But I've noticed a lot of those did not follow through.
Correct.
Are we gonna go back and review them?
If they were considered condemned and ordered demolished, those are gonna be the first ones that are gonna go up. We're waiting for contractors now.
Okay, because some of them, they were supposed to remodel.
Correct.
Rather than be demolished, but they did not do that.
Correct.
Are they gonna be held to the time frame that was allotted to them?
I'm gonna say no, because that time frame has passed. So if I would say yeah, I'd be lying, and I ain't
So we
gonna
have
lie.
to start all over with them?
No, we don't have to start all over. Honestly, they've been given more time than they were told. But that's something that we'll revisit and see, how we want to handle those. Some of them, I think, are savable homes. One in particular that I think about, the gentleman lied to me. He absolutely lied to me and told me that he was working on homes in another city, in Youngsville, I think, and that he was going to get to this one, and by January, and I want to say that was January of this year, and that did not happen. In fact, shortly after he lied to me on the phone, I was called and told that he's got it listed on Facebook for sale, and he's contacted some of our real estate agents to sell it. So not only did he lie and say that he was going to fix it because he wants to rent it and or sell it, but he didn't do anything to it. Oftentimes does not cut the grass. Currently, there's a tree that's down in the yard from one of the storms, and he hasn't touched the home. So.
Absolutely, we visited that, and nothing's been done.
And it could be a beautiful old home if they would put some money into it, but I don't know that they're going to do that. So I'm planning to call him again too.
All right.
Tim, I did have one question for you. On the LCDBG grant, I always have trouble saying that.
Yeah.
Isn't it correct that you have to have, like 150 homes, basically, that have been condemned and waiting in the queue, so to speak, in order to get the funding?
The number is not fast, but the minimum amount of grant that you apply for is a fast number, and I think it's something like 150,000, maybe 200,000. And then we looked at, well, what's the average cost of the demolition? These are all to be demolished.
Right, but you have to have don't you have to have an inventory, for lack of a better word, of homes that have not just been identified as needing to be condemned, but have actually gone through the process and been condemned?
You have to have, to begin with, a letter from somebody who represents themselves as the speaker for that ownership to say they're willing to take this money. Then the application has to be prepared, filed, and that what you just described has to be in place by the time you get the grant, which is probably 12 months later.
Right, but it would apply to the ones that have been involuntarily condemned previously, like we have 25 or so, or whatever the number that is, that have come to council and been condemned. Those would count towards that allotment for the purpose of seeking those funds, wouldn't it?
It would, but they'd still need to sign that document to say they want the money to demolish their property.
I don't think those that have gone through the process of the city to have them condemned or be ordered condemned, the letter that we used was from another municipality, a letter that they were using to get volunteers to step up and do it, but it doesn't. We don't have to have a letter from those property owners who were ordered that they have to condemn it. We can put those on the list that they have to do it, but we agree that they will not incur any cost that and that was part of the grant, is that the city, any contractors, no one can charge the property owner for anything. It's 100% covered by, when that property's clean, the property owner has a clean piece of property and no expense, nothing attached to their taxes or anything. But I believe Mr. Mike is correct in saying that those that have gone through council and have been ordered demolished count toward that number, even without a letter from them.
That's my appreciation, but I don't
Okay,
claim to
given
be
that,
an expert.
the most important thing is to know that you have enough homes at a price that you can apply for the minimum amount of grant.
Certainly, certainly.
Step?
Yeah, I hope I'm not hearing this. So you're saying all the hell that we went through with the previous councils, going back all the time, and I see our illustrious lady of all, Dr. Proctor is here. Back when she was on the council, we still have condemnation that was taking place in audit, and it still ain't been done. So you telling me with CAB and all that was done, we stood in this council many times arguing about whether we had a judge handling it, they were being paid and all this other stuff, and we had ground zero. So you're telling me now that all of the condemnations that we made are still on the books, but they won't be adhered to until this grant come through? Am I hearing that?
No, sir.
Well,
That is
explain that to me, because I know my phone will be ringing when I get out of here.
No, I think we clearly stated, and we've done this in numerous meetings. The reason we have delayed demolition of some of these homes, especially since this administration has been here, is because we were hopeful that we could apply for this funding. And I didn't want to move forward with requiring property owners to demolish their properties at their own expense, or the city moving in and doing it because they didn't and attaching that expense to their property, when we could possibly get some funding that would be absolutely free to the property owner. And then, well, we made Mr. Mader tear his house down, and it cost him money last month, but we got the grant this month, and Mr. Steve doesn't have to pay for his. So we did delay demolition of properties for quite a few months, probably 6 months or so.
It's been that long.
Because we were waiting on an answer whether or not we could get this grant. Now we know that it's going to be at least another year before we can get this grant. So we don't want to wait another year before we start cleaning up some of these properties.
Well,
So we're
I
going to
hope
move
not.
forward again with requiring these demolitions to happen. In the event these property owners do not move forward with the demolition as stated that they have to, then the city's going to move in and do it or hire a contractor to do it, and that cost will be attached to their property tax.
Okay, but Ms. Marks brought up something, and I don't know if you got your answer, but I'm listening to what you said and the explanation that was given. Who gonna be cutting the grass? You got grass growing, I mean, the house may not be tore down, but you got, I know, at least in our district, I could count 50, you know, just by driving down 2 or 3 streets.
Correct. And the
Okay.
same
But
process.
yet they have the yellow cord or whatever on the property that's been there for declarations or what have you. So,
Yes, sir.
I mean, I'm blown away with this.
So if you're talking about the home on West Hutchinson, that has
No,
the yellow
no,
tag on it.
No particular, I
Well,
didn't
I'm
say
gonna,
that.
in reference to that, I agree with you, and I've asked Tony, I said, why is this home not able to be torn down? The problem with it is its new owners since then. Now, this home was probably 2-3 years ago that home was ordered demolished. It's new owners since then. Those owners were supposed to take care of it. They haven't. I think we're going to have to reserve these new owners and go through the process again. Mr. Martin, the grass part, now you asked a couple of different questions here. Who's going to cut the grass? The same people who cut the grass now. Before the past month, I think it was, we were hiring a contractor and paying $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 a month for grass cutting.
Okay,
Since then, I've gotten the street department to go out and cut these yards. Once the notice has been given to the property owner, as it's supposed to be, they have so many days to cut the grass. Once that's done, then it's put, Tony just told you that there's a list of properties where the grass needs to be cut. And so that's what that list is. We and the contractors that we've hired can't get to all of them right away. So that process takes a little time, sometimes probably a couple of weeks at least, to get these properties cut, at minimum a couple of weeks. Some of these properties I've been calling the property owner when I know who it is, and I don't want to name anybody, but there's some in your ward, as you mentioned, and I called him just the other day. He said he's in the hospital. I said, well, take this as a warning, but you're fixing to get a letter. Please go and cut the grass on this property. That normally works much quicker than sending the letter out, because again, you got to send the letter out, you got to wait on the post office to get it to them, you got to wait on the post office to send us the certified mail back saying they either received it, they signed for it, or no signature was taken, they denied it, whatever it may be. Once we get that back, then we have to give a certain amount of days, we have to hire somebody to go cut it, and then they have to schedule it and go cut it. So I've been trying to call some of these property owners to get it done quicker.
I understand what you're saying, but at the same token, it's not fair to the neighbors. I mean,
It's not.
And now you're telling them, well, it'd be another year before we
No.
carry on.
No,
Well, I mean, that's what
that
I'm
is not
saying.
what I said.
Well, I'm asking the question here because I know I'm going to be getting phone calls, and I'm asking this
Mr.
question.
Mr. Core, can you explain to him what I said?
Wait. Let me clear out, so if I'm saying something that's out of play, put me in the right perspective. Well, what you're saying, you're trying, but it's not giving me what I need. Okay? Now, I know that these houses has these yellow boards on them. It's been there for years. Okay? They're still not torn down. Okay? And now, what's being said here, we waiting on a grant so they can be tore down money free.
So just
You can't
maybe
keep the
to kind
citizens waiting like this.
just
man.
perhaps
You
to
can't-
clarify.
You can't do that. You can't do that.
Well, I mean, it actually benefits some of the citizens because it would not cause them to incur the cost of the demolition. And, and, sure, sure. But, I mean, your original comment was that we've gone backwards. So we haven't gone backwards, we just haven't. Well, that's what I'm trying to answer. So that's what I'm trying to answer. So the point of a lot of that was in order to get to the point where we could apply for the LCDBG funding and get it done quicker than we could get it done otherwise. You know, all plans don't work out. That plan didn't work out this year. So at this point in time, we're going to move forward with the ones that have been condemned.
But you got some that been condemned for years.
And I'm telling you, well, that's what we're saying. We're going to move forward now.
Yeah, we've extended all the good faith efforts. We're going to move forward with bringing those up next, and the future meetings. That's what I would request. They be put on the agenda. No, well, no.
I mean, if they've been condemned, they're condemned.
If we've already acted on it, it's done. The city just needs to move forward.
Well, every time you talk about people talking about Crowley and all the blight, well, hey, man, it ain't never gonna end unless you do something.
I agree 100%.
Step, blame the
Mr.
delay
Mayor?
on me because what I was trying to do was acquire a grant to help some of these property owners not be in debt with tearing down these properties. I was trying to do something good for the property owners who needed the help to tear down these properties. Most of these property owners do not have the money to tear down these properties. They don't have, the families do not have the money to tear down these properties. This was a hell of an opportunity to give these property owners at no cost to tear down those properties. Yes, it is unfair to the neighbors. It's been unfair for many years. But it is also unfair to those property owners who do not have the money for it to not give them this opportunity that was possible to give them. But now it's not possible. So we have to move forward. And so we're going to continue with those that were told that they needed to condemn it. They're going to be condemned. But my apologies because I delayed it because I wanted to try and give those property owners the opportunity to demolish their properties at no cost to them.
And just to clarify, those properties don't have to be condemned. They have been condemned. They just need to be demolished. So. Sure.
Yeah. Mr.
Agreed,
Mayor, your arm is wearing out.
Yes, it is. Just quickly, Step, it's actually the opposite of what you fear, is the discussion tonight is to say we're stopping the wait. We're not
Right.
waiting anymore for the money.
That's tonight.
And
we just
because-
found that out.
And because we're not getting the grant, we're not waiting for it anymore. That's the whole discussion.
Okay, I think part of this went into the second discussion item. Mr. Motz, I will get to you in just a second. The second discussion item is a request that code enforcement officials become proactive in their duties to identify and address violations regarding tall grass, storage of junk, storage of inoperable motor vehicles, et cetera, relative to the ordinances. And as you mentioned, Step, in addition to the blighted structures in our city, there are numerous properties with tall grass, overgrowth, storage of junk, non-compliant structures, and abandoned vehicles. Although our code enforcement division actively responds to complaints that are received, many residents are reluctant to report issues to maintain good relationships with their neighbors. Therefore, I urge the Code Enforcement Division to perform routine inspections throughout the city and address all non-compliant properties rather than simply responding to complaints. I believe a proactive approach will motivate owners to maintain their properties on a routine basis and greatly enhance the desirability of our city. And I think Mr. Duhon is, in his office, has started to do that already. Thank you. Mr. Muntz, say your name and for the record, please.
Push the button and turn the microphone on, please.
Testing. Jason Muntz, property owner of numerous properties, as you said. I've got some questions for the council. Now, I don't even know where to begin here. 2 days ago, day and a half ago, I had two of my properties that had the city come over and remove property of mine off my property. City had been on my back to clean my properties, yes, I understand that, and have been doing so as an individual by myself. Unbeknownst to the city council, maybe they known it, maybe they don't, that I had approximately $500K embezzled out of my account. I had been completely wiped out. I had dropped 30 grand into one of the houses that I was repairing on 10th Street behind the kindergarten school. Was almost finished, and they come in and demolish once they found out it was donated to me. Because they just, I don't know what the deal was, but wouldn't even look at pictures. I had pictures and everything. I had hired people from the community to work on all these homes. These homes were not staying stagnant at all. They were being redone, fixed, until I was completely embezzled out by someone that was close to me, unknown to the council. If they knew, they knew. If they don't, they don't. But they know now. Even as I made a report to Captain Troy, that about this individual that I believed was the embezzler. A detective was assigned to the case, in which I felt was improper because I had to draw down on him because he broke in my house one night and with other officers. And I had to, do what I had to do. And he was the one that was investigating the case. And I felt that a conflict of interest. And somehow I just don't feel that I have received adequate dealings with this matter so that the bank could reimburse me from the fraud so that I could pay these things back.
Council members, just so you'll know, his complaint that we started yesterday cleaning up, it is on the screens for you to see. This was his property yesterday. He was served as should be. Also, this can be seen on the internet, on the live stream. This is the property
Way later picture.
that he, this is from Google Earth Maps. This street was not able to be completely
Paved.
resurfaced at one point when it was being resurfaced because that camper you see
Was 1 inch
was
over the road.
partially on the roadway.
1 inch.
The post office stopped delivering mail to this house a year ago. I talked to the postman yesterday while he was out there. There has not been any utilities to this home, to either one of those homes,
'Cause it's
in
solar power.
4 to 5 years.
It's off
No
grid.
water, no electricity,
They
nothing.
had water. They
He was
had
ordered to
over
clean it up
4,000
and
gallons
did
of
not.
water at any time over there.
Mr. Muntz, what is your question to the council?
Well, if he wants to butt in, why can't I?
Well, we're here to,
Well, my question is, this picture here is over a year old. This is something that's old. What I was doing was not what you see here. The city came out and moved my camper. I had 1 inch hanging over the road. With all the skilled work that these road workers can do, I've seen them go in 15 inches over some roads and pave it, but I have hanging over 1 inch and they couldn't go around that? Fine. Now, they did that to my camper and they did that to a lot of the left side, okay? They destroyed my gazebo, my waterfall, my fountains, my jacuzzi. All that is on the backside that you cannot see. But nobody says anything about that. But just like I asked the council, maybe y'all knew, maybe y'all didn't know. I got embezzled out of 500K, all right? I'm sorry if I...
sir, if that's,
Okay, now, let's get back to this picture. This picture's old.
Step your mic.
Listen, if you got embezzled with $500,000, that's between you and your bank, okay? What do you employ this council to do? What are you asking?
Take into consideration these things.
Take what?
Take into consideration these factors.
that's not in our ordinance to follow that type of situation you're in.
Mr. Monts's complaint, Mr. Martin, Mr. Monts's complaint is, we went over there yesterday, that front yard no longer looks like that. We hauled off 10 loads with the help of the Acadia Parish Police Jury and their grappler trucks.
That is correct.
We hauled off 10 loads
That
and
is
we're not
correct.
complete. We stopped because it was too muddy and the machinery was making big ruts. We're gonna haul dirt in there to close in the ruts that we created and help dry the property up.
That is
Then we're
correct.
gonna continue cleaning the back. That's not the backyard. There's another 4 or 5 loads in the backyard. The back looks just like
Minimum.
this. The neighborhood has been complaining for 5 years. He says it's been like this for 5 years. The neighborhood has been complaining about that. We notified him that he needed to clean it. He refused to do so.
That's incorrect.
And so the city moved in legally yesterday. Everything was hauled to Public Works and is being stored. He will be charged storage. If he wants to, fight it in court, the court is where he needs to fight it.
Yes, sir, I understand that. What he's saying is correct. They did haul off quite a few, but they hauled off all my equipment that I used to make work with. They hauled off almost all my clothes that was hanging in the back on hangers to dry, hauled that off. All my tools to do my repairs, hauled that off. Let me think, what can I work with? Nothing. What can I work with now? Because you took it all. Now what do I work with?
Mr. Muntz,
What do I work with?
Mr.
I have no
Muntz.
equipment, I have no tools, and I have no clothes. My mother's shirt.
Mr. Muntz,
What do I work with?
Mr. Muntz, I've
Yes,
allowed you the opportunity to speak.
Yes, sir.
You're not on the agenda, but I did give you ample time.
Yes, sir.
We attempted to answer your question, and the mayor has too, and we're gonna have to move on with the meeting.
Oh, yes, sir, I understand.
Thank you.
But I'd like to know, how do I survive now?
Okay, we will move on to item number 3, which I think Mr. Landry has covered as far as the requirements for conditional use permits and zoning variances. And the only thing I'll ask, Michael, could you summarize that in some type of a letter about the requirements, kind of instead of having to read the ordinance in different sections? That would assist, I think, the council and particularly the planning commission greatly, because there's been some confusion regarding conditional use permits, what's required, zoning variances, signatures required, and so forth. But I would appreciate that. Okay, any other business to come before the Public Safety Committee? And then we will recess.
Thank you, sir. Let's see, Public Buildings, Alderman Wilridge, please, sir.
Good evening. Public business convened. We had a quorum. On the reports, there was none under action items. Paulette Paul is a local nonprofit organization who raised money for St. Jude's Children's Hospital, is asking for the city of Crowley to co-sponsor the Mr. and Mrs. Merry Christmas pageant by allowing use of the Rice Festival building free of charge, aside from the cleanup fee. Tentative dates of November the 9th, 2024 for rehearsal, and November the 10th, 2024 for the pageant. And I so move.
Second?
Second by Mr. Latin. All in favor?
Aye.
You got the same right? Any discussion? Then, on the discussion item, me and the mayor talked about that, and I know, and I'm gonna say this, I know Batman and I know Robin getting a lot of calls from our constituents saying about the South Crowley graveyard is closed and they ain't able to allow people to buy plots out there. So I'm bringing this up for us as the 9 by the 10. We got to discuss it and start thinking about if this is a city-owned graveyard for the city of Crowley that everybody paying taxes on. Once we pay our city taxes every year, we should support or allow them to have, or the city of Crowley to have, a graveyard. And that's what we need to think about. And I know there's a lot of places, and if y'all family members was to pass, y'all can go other places, but for St. Teresa, for the city of Crowley West Side, they normally went to South Crowley. South Crowley is closed now, so, and some people will say, well, they could go anywhere they want to find a plot to be, but that's not right. The city of Crowley should support and have a graveyard for the city of Crowley residents. I don't know what the ins and outs, and that's when the lawyer could get involved and stuff like that. But we have to have some property somewhere to be able to bury somebody. And that's what I brought this discussion up for us to start thinking about.
Okay. All right. I guess this question for the mayor. What does the actual referendum describe as what the tax is for the cemetery? Is it for maintenance only?
It's for maintenance and repairs and maintenance upkeep of the cemetery, and it specifically spells out the boundaries of that cemetery. So it's no other land, no other parcels, no, it's specifically for that piece of land. That portion of the ordinance is got a list, because there's no roads or anything, so it's, you know, this many feet to this point and this many feet to this point. So it's specific for that piece of land, and it's for repairs and maintenance of the cemetery. And currently, Mr. Wilridge is correct. There are no more spots available. Now, I'll tell you that Mr. Wilridge and Mr. Martin contacted the Louisiana Cemetery Board about the West Crowley Cemetery, and they sent me a letter about the West Crowley Cemetery. And I explained to the lady, I said, the city of Crowley does not own the West Crowley Cemetery, but we do own the South Crowley Cemetery. And I said, you know, obviously I wasn't in the deal when that was done. Originally, my understanding is that cemetery belonged to numerous churches, and I don't know the whole story about how the city acquired it. But she said, well, that's not registered with us either. I said, okay, that's news to me. So I actually sent that letter and that paperwork to Mr. Landry and Mr. Reagan today, because he's going to know the information of the creation of that cemetery. Maybe not the creation of the cemetery. That was over 100 years ago, but when the city took it over. And I told the lady that I would, you know, I asked her, I said, the problem with the West Crowley Cemetery is the owners of that cemetery are probably in that cemetery. Unfortunately, all of them are in that cemetery. If you look at the tax assessor's website, the tax assessor's website has it listed as the Colored Protestants Cemetery Association. It was an association. And the lady said, yes, sir, but they were denied, or they no longer were registered with the Louisiana Cemetery Association. I found this out today. The Louisiana Cemetery Association in, I don't know, the 80s or whatever, 1986 or something like that, I think she told me. And so I told her, I said, you know, their concern, and I said, where do y'all come from? I said, I've never heard of the Louisiana Cemetery Association, or the Louisiana Cemetery, whatever they are. And it's a state organization, and she told me, by the way, Mr. Attorney, that most attorneys don't know the cemetery laws. So it's not odd, guilty, it's not odd that the city's cemetery is not registered with them. However, now we're going to have to go forward and register with them. I think it's $700 a year for the registration. And I explained to her, I said, you have to understand that the people who were, I guess, part of the association that still owns the cemetery, the West Crowley Cemetery, they're gone, and people after them kind of kept up that legacy, I guess you would say, of feeling obligated to keep up the cemetery. Over the years, it's come down to one person. Unfortunately, that one person doesn't, I'm not going to say it doesn't, may not be doing it correctly. She personally collects money for the burials that still take place there, as they take place. The funeral homes write her a check personally for the burials, and she hires lawn service to go and cut the grass. My understanding, when she can afford it. I'll tell you that I'm up to $1,250 every 2 weeks to cut the South Crowley Cemetery. In January of 23, we were paying about $700 or $800. Okay, those people no longer want to cut it for that. So, she says that she pays $1,000 a month, so one cutting per month, to cut the cemetery. I believe it. That's a better price than I've got. And I don't know that it's the same size, but it's a pretty large cemetery. Unfortunately, that's illegal for her to do. She cannot collect the money according to the Louisiana Cemetery Board. She cannot, no one person can personally collect money for burial spots. So I told the lady with the Louisiana Cemetery Board today, I said, although that's not the city's cemetery, I personally, because I've already spoken with her on a few occasions, Mr. Byron knows her personally, Step knows her personally, and I will contact her. Actually, we have a meeting with her Friday, me and Mr. Byron and her, and I will explain to her that I'm sure she's got some concern that the Louisiana Cemetery Board is trying to get in touch with her, but I want to explain to her that she needs to do this. She needs to contact these people, and I'll help her through the process of getting this done. So I asked the lady with the Louisiana Cemetery Board, I said, what happens to a cemetery like this that no one owns anymore? Basically, the association basically no longer exists. And she said, there are lots of options. She said, there's an abandoned cemetery option. There's options. But she said, we have to go through this process to get to that point. So it's very important that I'm gonna work with Mr. Byron and work with Miss Edna and make sure that she goes through that process, because currently she is not able to do what she's doing. I'll tell you that I 100% believe she is doing this because no one else is doing it, and she feels obligated that someone has to do something with it. But no good deed goes unpunished. So we're going to have to work with her and help her through this process with the Louisiana Cemetery Board. And hopefully there's an opportunity there that will relieve her of what she feels is her duties, and also find a way to keep this cemetery up. And some of the grave sites are over 100 years old. There's no headstones, there's no names, nothing, and there's a handful of them that are broken, exposed, and I actually helped her put a piece of plywood on one of them with the recently posted Facebook thing, and so I'm working with her, trying to help her and the West Crowley Cemetery. I told the lady, she says, well, who owns it? I said, well, the people own it. I mean, it's for the people. She said, the people can't own it. I said, well, Go to the tax assessor's website and see who is listed as the owner, and then there's no other information there. There's no address, there's no phone number, there's nothing for that association to contact them. So we're actually fixing to start the process of helping them out with that.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate it. And everything the mayor said is true, because I was on the phone with the director, and I don't know, it's just a big headache, but we got to start somewhere.
Yeah. And this cemetery is nothing new with having these issues. I've heard about this for many years.
Go ahead,
Mr. Martin.
Well, first of all, intent is one of the best things you can use when intended to do the right thing. Okay? It's never a bad time to start when you know that you have to finish something. I've spoken to Baton Rouge. Matter of fact, I've made a few phone calls to Troy Carter's office, our congressman. And matter of fact, they back in session now, but I'm waiting on someone to give me a call. I've spoken to the people that Byron spoke to. I spoke to the people you spoke to over there. I spoke to their supervisor. And I want to make it clear that if we're going to start, let's start from this moment on, when the letter came in. I don't see no reason in the world to hold this person obligated to do a good thing. That's what I look at. She was obligating herself to do a good thing. Whatever this city needs to do to make sure that that burden is taken off her shoulders, I'm 100% in favor, and I hope everybody here as well. Now, the situation here is that the reason why the West Crowley Cemetery is so valuable and irreplaceable, we know it's running out of plots as well as South Crowley, is because it's in walking distance of a lot of the people that's a family that's laying to rest over there. I've had many people who ask the question, why is, our Catholic Church or whatever, we go to South Crowley when there's West Crowley? The fact of the matter is up to the family, and when you're in bereavement, you do whatever you do to do whatever you got to do. But I want to show everybody here that's in this audience, and whoever's listening on the web or what have you, and these council members, the mayor, and everyone else, chief, that I'm in favor of, the property going to be adjudicated. I can tell you that now. It's going through court. It's going to be adjudicated. Whether it's adjudicated to anybody, I hope that it's adjudicated to the city of Crowley. Okay, that's my hope. I don't know if it will or not. But at the end of the day, like I said, there's no crime against good intentions. And this certain individual, everything that she's been doing, she's been coming out of her own pocket. But she kept the faith, okay? Many times people, she told me, and other people have told me as well, that if there was no burials, like you just said, the grass still had to be cut. And she kept that going. So I'm just hoping that this council and everyone here, pray that it comes to a pleasant ending where let's forget about what was done and take it from what will be done. That's all I'm asking. Okay, if there's a way to adjudicate the past, we're not worried about the past. We're taking it from the time of notification and going from there. That's all I ask. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Morton. Any more discussion? There being none, no business came before public buildings, so we recess, sir.
Thank you, sir. Insurance and Personnel, Alderwoman Marks, please.
Thank you, Mayor. At this time, I'd like to convene the Insurance and Personnel Committee. We have a full quorum present. At this time, we have no reports or action items, so I ask if there are any discussion items for anyone. Anyone? If there are no discussion items at this time, then the Insurance and Personnel Committee rests.
Thank you, ma'am. Community Economic Development, Alderwoman Chasson, please.
Thank you very much. The Community and Economic Development Committee will come to order, and we do have a quorum present. A couple of things that I just want to bring to your attention. The second annual Red, Rice, and Blue Independence Day celebration was held Thursday, July 4th at the Rice Arena, featuring food, fun jumps, and live music. A fireworks show was held at 9 p.m., and I've spoken to a lot of people that said it was a really fun day, so thank you very much. Crowley Main Street. Crowley Main Street has been in existence for 25 years this July and will be celebrating the accomplishments of this program. The main event will be a block party. It will be held under the historic Rice Theater marquee on Friday, July 26, from 6 p.m. until 10 p.m. There will be live music and food available for purchase. Bring your dancing shoes and chairs and enjoy the evening. Christmas in July Shopping Day will be held the next day, Saturday, July 27th from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. There will also be movies at the Rice Theater at 10 a.m., 1 p.m., and 2:45, so parents can drop their older children and let them watch a movie while they shop. From the Acadia Parish Chamber, July 18th will be Ochsner General Community Update with Caroline Marceau, Administrator. July 25th, we will celebrate 25 years for FIZOs as they host business after hours from 5 until 7. Check the community calendar on Acadia Parish Chamber of Commerce website for other events and to register. The Crowley Garden Club has nothing to report during the summer months. Mr. Anthony Claymont reported that they were involved with planting flowers down West Hutchison Avenue. Kudos to all the volunteers helping to beautify our city. And at this time, I'm going to call on Dr. Rezora Proctor to tell you a little bit about that event.
Honorable Mayor, members of the council, public officials, and stakeholders for the Crowley community. Before going into that, Ms. Katie and your committee, I would like to make you aware of something that is coming up, an event that you have been most honorable about helping us with and making it happen. That is the back to school backpack school supply giveaway and seminar. It's not just giving things away. We also have a seminar. We talked about tips for parents to help their children and how kids can help themselves to be the best that they can be during the school year. It will be the second week in August, and I will be, and the committee will be making it known exactly when, the date. And you have been very helpful in being partners for us and even in attending. I ask you to do the same this year. You have spoiled us by being partners, so don't unspoil us. Do what you need to do. And Mayor, you have the same assignment that you've been having. It hasn't changed. And the last thing I want to say to you is that approximately 40 persons consisting of West Crowley Beautification Board, the National Association of University Women, Delta Sigma Theta, youth, a bunch of youth, even had a school principal from Ross Elementary School, a new principal, church members, public officials, community organizations combine their energy and efforts to help beautify West Hutchison Avenue from Avenue F to the railroad track. They planted miniature rose bushes and other beautiful flowers. With that in mind, I would be remiss if I would not thank those persons, and I've already done that, but I want to say it publicly. Special thanks to our stakeholders, our legacy makers, our wonderful, energetic mayor, Chad Monson, who did such a great job. I thought I was energetic, but he beats me. All of our city council members, you may not have been present physically, but I know you supported our efforts. Thank you so very much. Steve Bandy, who's with our local newspaper, yes, you. My husband, Bishop James W. Proctor, we had him on his knees doing what he needed to do. Walter Andress of the Acadia Parish Police Bureau, Wes Jacob, our innovative street director, was there. And lastly but not, our city councilman, Step and Barn, you just blessed my heart when I saw you come up, because I expected all those other people, but you know, you are so busy. I didn't expect you, but you just made me happy about this. I saved the Crowley Fire Department also, and there are many others that I may not have mentioned. But this project is just the beginning of a larger act that will inspire, energize, and empower citizens to have a greater love and appreciation for West Crowley as well as Crowley as a whole. Mayor Chad, city council members, and citizens of Crowley, again, thank you for your labor of love and your dedication. We appreciate you, and as I always say, to the highest. May you be blessed.
Thank you so much.
Ms. Proctor, can I ask that if it doesn't mess up the plans, in the second week of August, that we hold that event indoors? It's always outdoors, and it's rather warm.
It's a good idea.
We will definitely give that to consideration. The committee is meeting on this week.
Good.
And we will certainly give that some consideration. We certainly will need some crowd control
It
there.
can be the same location.
Yes.
But just inside Martin Luther King
Okay.
Center.
Well, I'll make that happen, Mayor, with your request. Thank you.
Look, we sweated enough putting them roses in the ground. Let's use the air conditioner.
Very, very good point, Mayor. The other thing I want to mention, the first annual Don Habits Memorial Fly-In, which is going to be July 13th. The gates open at 9 a.m., pilots meeting at 9:30. And they're saying it's at the Rams flying site, 1059 Tower Road in Crowley. And it looks like it's a big day. They're going to be selling food and concessions and all kinds of airplanes and things flying.
Yeah, this is all radio, remote control planes. They have a track for remote control trucks and things now, and even boats. So it'll be a fun event. Bring your own drinks, and tents and chairs and all those good things, because hopefully the sun will be shining bright. And they have a airstrip for the planes, model remote planes and stuff. And it's just north of town on 1111, on the left-hand side there. They'll have some signs out there that weekend, but it'll be a fun event. Bring the kids out there. They'll love that. So make sure y'all go and check that out.
Very good, thank you. Is there anything else that we need to discuss?
One more thing.
Yes.
The first annual, and I forgot to include this in y'all's packet, the first annual Acadia Youth Summit. So this is Mr. Calvin Ardwan, his team, the Acadia Youth Summit that happens each year, and they have that at the Crowley Middle School. They're having a charity basketball tournament. We are absolutely helping with this event. Concessions will be available. Admission at the door. This is going to be at the MLK Center. Registration deadline is July 18th. This is for adult basketball. This is an adult basketball tournament, so if you want to enter this tournament, please contact Dee Burnett or Dave Johnson. This flyer is on our website and the city's Facebook page. This is going to be a great event, all-day event at the Martin Luther King Center. This is July 21st. 3-on-3, 4 players max, $30 per player. If you think you got what it takes to be a basketball star here in our city, I encourage you to sign up.
Sounds good.
What's that? It doesn't say how much the admission is, but it starts at 8 a.m. I'm sure it's going to be a minimal admission.
Very good. Is there anything else that needs to be discussed? With that, the Community and Economic Development Committee will rest.
And then that is it. One other thing, you do have some budgets and budget amendments in your packets for your review before you actually have to vote on them, which we will introduce the resolution next week, council meetings, and then we will set the public hearing and have the official vote on adopting at the August meeting. So any questions or concerns on it, please do not hesitate to call. Chantel is on vacation this week, so I'll ask that you don't call her this week, but she'll be back bright and early Monday morning, ready to help out. But that is for you to take home and study. Any other questions? Thank you all.